shocking truth about Jesus has been hidden for 2,000 years. The mystery. No one dares to say, where was Jesus for 18 years? Did you know that there was a period of 18 years in Jesus' life that completely disappeared from history? Have you ever heard about the forbidden documents that could change the entire history of Christianity? Do you believe that the end-time prophecies in the book of Revelation could be coming true right now? If these things are true, would you dare to face them? Watch until the end to discover the truth that no one has dared to say. Part 1. The 18 years of Jesus missing. Is there an explanation? In the Bible, when Jesus was 12 years old, he appeared in the temple discussing with the scribes, making them amazed by his wisdom. But then there is no record of him for the next 18 years, until he began preaching at the age of 30. It is a strange historical gap that no one can explain. Why in the Bible there is no record of Jesus' life from the age of 12-30? A great influential figure, but for nearly 20 years there is absolutely no record of him. Is this the biggest historical gap in Christianity? Shocking theory. 1. Did Jesus visit India and Tibet? In a Tibetan monastery, an ancient manuscript was found that recorded a Western teacher called Isa, who came to study Eastern spiritual teachings. The document describes a man from the West, teaching compassion and salvation, the same things that Jesus taught. Let's analyze. If this is true, this could change our perception of the origins of Christian teachings. Similarities between Christianity and Buddhism: compassion, forgiveness, teaching through parables, encouraging people to leave material things behind to seek spiritual happiness. Did Jesus absorb Eastern philosophy during his journey of disappearance? Based on authentic documents, I believe there is a very high possibility that Jesus traveled and studied in the East. If this is proven, could it shake the entire foundation of Christianity? Shocking hypothesis 2. Did Jesus train in the desert? Extra-biblical sources such as the Apocrypha suggest that Jesus may have lived in seclusion and trained in the desert. Some scholars believe that he underwent a spiritual journey, similar to the way other prophets such as Moses and Buddha did, before making their teachings public. Ernest Renan in The Life of Jesus, 1863, wrote, Jesus may have undergone a rigorous training process, preparing him for an unprecedented spiritual revolution. Analysis. If Jesus trained alone in a harsh environment, it could explain why he appeared with superior spiritual wisdom. Other prophets also went through a similar period before spreading their teachings. Personal opinion. I believe that this is no coincidence. If the founders of major religions all went through a period of seclusion for spiritual training, then Jesus may have done the same. If he really traveled, why is there no record of it in the Bible? If the ancient documents are correct, does this change the foundation of Christianity? Was this event covered up? Part 2. Are the prophecies of the end of the world coming fulfilled? What did the book of Revelation predict? The book of Revelation, chapter 6, describes the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse: war, pestilence, famine, and death. In recent years, the world has witnessed a series of pandemics, escalating wars, severe natural disasters, and economic recessions, all of which coincide remarkably with these prophecies. Widespread wars, Ukraine conflict, Middle East, US-China tensions, increasingly severe natural disasters, earthquakes, storms, and floods appear with high frequency. The global pandemic, COVID-19, has taken millions of lives from the world analysis. If this is a coincidence, why were all these events predicted thousands of years ago? Are we entering the most important period in human history? Personal opinion. I believe we cannot ignore these signs. Whether it is a coincidence or predestined fate, one thing is certain: the world is changing in an unprecedented way. Part 3. Miracles that defy science. Fiction or fact? In the Bible, Jesus performed many miracles that defied all physical laws. But can we find a reasonable explanation for these events? Miracle 1. Turning water into wine, a quantum phenomenon. At the wedding feast of Cana, Jesus turned water into wine in the blink of an eye. In the book The Life of Jesus, Ernest Renan, 1863, there is an excerpt like this. At the wedding feast of Cana, the guests ran out of wine. Jesus ordered 6 stone jars to be filled with water, and when the master of the feast tasted it, the water turned into the finest wine. This miracle was one of the first signs of his power. Analysis. Today's science does not have any technology that can instantly change the molecular structure of water into wine. However, some quantum experiments have shown that matter can change according to the will of the observer. If Jesus could really control matter with spiritual energy, what does this mean for modern science? Personal opinion. I believe that it is possible that this miracle is not a physical change of water, but a change in human perception. Or Jesus really has the ability to influence the structure of atoms, something that science has yet to fully explore. Miracle 2. Healing by faith. What is the power of spirituality? A biblical account describes that when Jesus healed a man blind from birth, he applied mud to the man's eyes and told him to wash them in a pool of water. After doing so, the man was able to see for the first time in his life. According to the Gospel of Mark, there was a woman who had been sick for 12 years and was immediately healed by just touching Jesus' cloak. This story has been retold by many people and has become one of the strongest evidences of his power. Jesus healed the blind, the paralyzed, and even the dead. Could this healing be the result of strong belief, placebo effect? Let's analyze placebo effect. If a person believes that they will be healed, their brain can trigger a self-healing process. Modern spiritual therapy. Methods such as Reiki, meditation, and bioenergy healing are all based on the idea that energy can heal the body. Vibrational frequency of the body. Some scientific studies suggest that cells respond to vibrational frequency, and Jesus may have used a form of energy that humans do not fully understand. Personal opinion. I believe that Jesus' miracles may have been related to a form of energy that science has not yet discovered. He was not only a healer, but could also completely change the body's functioning through faith. Miracle 3. Resurrection. An impossible thing. After being crucified, Jesus died and was buried, but 3 days later, he came back to life. Analysis: clinical death. Some people have been declared dead but then revived. However, no one has ever fully revived after 3 days like Jesus. Research on consciousness after death. Some scientific studies have shown that consciousness can survive the death of the body, but we still do not fully understand this. Is Jesus' resurrection not just a miracle, but also proof of the immortality of the soul? Personal opinion. If resurrection really happened, it would mean that humans could overcome the physical limits of death. This may not be a normal biological event, but a theological phenomenon, a process of transformation into another form of existence. Part 4. Witnesses who saw Jesus after the resurrection, reality or myth? On the third day after Jesus was crucified, Mary Magdalene came to the tomb and found it empty. A man appeared before her, but she did not recognize him until he called her by name, Mary. Then she realized that it was Jesus risen. After the resurrection, Jesus appeared not to just one person, but to many. According to the Gospel of Luke, 2 disciples were on the road to Emmaus when a mysterious man appeared walking with them. It was only when he broke bread that they realized that he was the risen Jesus. Both immediately returned to Jerusalem to tell the news. Important witnesses: Mary Magdalene, the first person to see Jesus. The 2 disciples on the road to Emmaus talked to him. The Apostle Thomas, he did not believe until he touched his wounds. 500 others, according to the Bible, about 500 people saw him. Analysis: if this was a collective hallucination, how could there be 500 witnesses? If this is true, it means that Jesus really overcame death and appeared to humanity. Personal opinion. I believe that the resurrection of Jesus is one of the greatest mysteries in history, and if it really happened, it could change every concept of life and death. Conclusion: is the truth being hidden? What we know may just be the tip of the iceberg. If there is evidence of Jesus being hidden, who is keeping it? If the end of the world is coming, how should we prepare? If Jesus really comes back, do you believe it? Comment now. Do you believe in the return of Jesus? Like, share, and subscribe to not miss the next discoveries.